It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
This next one's a little bit of a tax planning question. You want this one?
Oh, of course.
This is from
flex those tax muscles.
This is from Ralph, and I want to make sure I understand exactly what he's saying. He says, "Can you give directly from an IRA to a charitable account?"
Oh yeah.
And then parentheses says like donor advised fund. Like, can I give from an IRA directly to a charitable account? I don't know if he's asking, can I make a contribution to a charitable account from an IRA, or if I can give to charity directly from an IRA.
Now, that's kind of a unique question, and maybe you can jump in on this too. But I immediately thought this was a qualified charitable distribution.
That's exactly
question.
what I would, and that's the way I would approach it.
Because think about it. Here's the thing, guys. When you reach required minimum distribution age, that's 72 under current law. A lot of people, you're like, man, I have all this income that's being forced onto me because I'm required to take these distributions. I no longer get to itemize my charitable contributions because my standard deduction is so high. What could I do? And that's where we step in and they're called QCDs, the Qualified Charitable Distribution. We'll tell people, hey, why don't you take a portion of that forced, distribution you have to take, send it to your favorite charity directly from the IRA, meaning it's directly paid from the IRA, 401k, whatever the qualified account is, directly to them. You don't get a charitable deduction because you're still taking the standard deduction, but guess what? You don't count that income on your tax return now, and that has the side benefit of your Social Security might be less taxable. It's going to your Medicare premiums might be lower. There's a lot of benefits to doing these QCDs. Now, here's the logistics question that I'm not quite sure on, is that I don't know that we've ever had a qualified account go into a donor advised account. We've always done directly to the charities. I'm not saying that you can't do it. I'm just saying in my experience we've never done it that way.
Yeah, I think one of the things is in order for even like for qualified charitable distributions, like one of the ways that it has to happen to like be above board is it actually has to go directly to the institution. I would imagine that going from an IRA to the donor advised fund would be a little murky. I think if you're going to do an IRA distribution and you want to do like a QCD, I would do it directly to the institution as opposed to going through the charitable gift fund. Because remember, one of the reasons you really want to use charitable gift funds is so that you can gift appreciated securities. Well, appreciated securities matter inside of like a taxable account. So if you have an after-tax account and you bought, stock XYZ at this much and now it's worth this much, that's a great example of something you ought to think about donating to the donor advised fund. Since the IRA is a tax-deferred account, it's a different type of benefit. So I would think about it in sort of a different way.
I know at a minimum it would have to be different ownership. The donor advised, because realize when you guys have IRAs, trusts, those things are different ownership than you as the individual or you as the couple. So at a minimum, if it was even allowed, it would have to be a completely different setup.
Yep.
Because the owner of the account is not you or your spouse. It's actually going to be the IRA or the qualified account that was making the contribution. So, that's a little murkier, but I do think if there's several things we hit on there, and this is what I love about our job is that we work with people all across the country, and we get into this nuance type stuff to where I have no doubt I could very quickly go pull the resources, see if we could do the QCDs right into the donor advised. That's something we'll have to follow up on.